ဒီယာခင်နေကမနာကေဝင်တော်မြေမိမကာရိုရင်ကမာဒီမမြတ်တော်မူလေဒီကမိုင်ဝနာနာဒတဲ့ယောမတော်ယေစုဒီလာမမြတ်တော်မူလေမြတ်စွာဘုရားမေတော်တရှင်တော်မာယာယကမစာရွေဒီခဏနေပြရှိသူကျွန်တော်ဖုန်ကစတာတော်ပါအာမင် and Holy Spirit. Does everyone know the reference to the title "Coming to America" by Eddie Murphy? I have not watched the movie yet, but a friend of mine who's from Burundi, he's also a seminarian, suggested me to watch it, so I'm planning on watching it. He's he's also a refugee. His name is Evra Muoza. He's in my same class at Bishop Simon Brute. And his dad was a politician, and his whole family fled to the States because his dad's opponents were trying to murder him because they didn't agree with a lot of things. So that's yeah. So basically, my talk is going to be over my life back in Burma and the process of coming to the United States and what I'm currently doing now. So hopefully you learned a few things from this talk. So, so I'm from a country called Myanmar, also called Burma. That doesn't really matter which one you call it. Located between India, Thailand, and south of China. Um, it's relatively small, about the size of Texas. Um, it has 55 million people. I'm from this part of the country. There's a state like right here called Gaya, and the town that I'm from is called Waiko. It's a pretty small town. Um, so my dad, he is from ethnic group called Geba, which is a part of the state. So the state is called Gaya, but within the state there are multiple different uh, ethnic groups, and so like in other parts of the country as well, in each state there are many more tribes, and that speak their own language. They have their own culture, own food. So whenever you visit each part of the country, you will experience like different languages, different food, different music, clothing, and but they are always hospitable to visitors, to foreigners. Um, and my mom is Burmese, so Burmese is the main ethnic group in Burma. That's why get the name Burma, and they speak Burmese. And so my mom's side of the family, they're from like the central part, like around here of the country. And my dad knows, I think he still knows how to speak his own native language. So my dad is the sixth oldest, the sixth of the nine siblings, and my mom is the youngest of four. And I think her sister, who's the second oldest, they're 10 years apart, I think. And my grandparents, after I was born, all of them were really old. They were in like 70s and 80s. Well, like, because my grandparents. So young, I mean, if you compare to here, like after you're born, your grandparents would be like around 50s, 60s. But because they were really old, ever since I was like, a kid, I didn't get to know about them, uh, and they didn't really like tell me a lot of stuff either, because they were old, and it's also a cultural thing. They're not really conversive unless you ask them, to really ask them about themselves. But most of the time, wouldn't tell you. So I didn't get to know well about their lives, especially at their younger age. Um, I wish I could have asked, about um, what was like when they were kids, where our ancestors came from. Like it would have been really nice to see the roots of my lineage. Uh, so now I have two siblings. I'm the youngest. My oldest is 26. He just got married. My sister is 24. So she's going to med school this coming school year. Um, and before I was born, my parents owned a small shop in front of our house. It's like a concession stand, like if in like um, neighborhoods, they would have concessions. So like kids who are playing outside would just stop by concession stand and then buy a snack. And so my family lived off that. But then they weren't really doing well, and so I think like a while, a little bit after I was born, they gave it to our uncle, and so they stopped um, working there full time, and my mom got a new job over at the municipal office, and and so yeah, like my whole life, most of my parents' life, we were financially struggling always. The average income in Burma for an individual is $1,440 a year. So monthly is $120. Weekly would be $30, and so which puts us to $4.28 a day, um, and 25% and more of the population are under the poverty rate, and so my family was a part of that. Um, and this was due to the poor economy uh, resulting from the bad leadership from the military government, and the country is still um, under the military government, and um, so now like the country is under a state of emergency. So last winter they had an election, and the party called the National League for Democracy won by like a large percent, and they were already in the government because they won. They also won the previous election in 2015, but then they won by a large more percentage this time, and so the military said that it was not a fair election. They said it was rigged, so they took over the whole parliament, the whole government, and arrested all the opponents, all the politicians that were opposing them, and so the people have had enough because in the 1988 there was another riot by the people, and it started off as a peaceful demonstration, but the military responded by um, shooting at them and killing them. So like there were like thousands of people who died. And at that time, my dad was a seminarian, so he he was in seminary for a few years, and so he also participated in the demonstration with his along with his fellow seminarians and the clergy. So there's a picture of that too. Um, and and so yeah, the so here's me in front of our house, my sister and my oldest brother. So I was a little chubby, and my grandmother, you can see that she's really old already. And so that's me, like before I went to school, and in the background you can see the conditions. Like this was our house. If you go back, so like this is the right side of the house, which is um, you know, what's it called, cement. and so cement blocks, and so it was a little better living here. But my cousins lived here. But then connecting to that on the left side is on the bottom level is all wooden and all wooden. So like they were all like arranged by planks, and so there are holes and like you can see through them, and there's like a gap between the door, and so like the whole ground was all dirt. There were two rooms, so like the living room was connected to the kitchen, and then if you kept going, the bedroom would be in the back. And so that's all we had. Uh, and so in during the bad weather, like we have a lot of rain there, and especially during the rainy season, like the water would leak on the ground, and we get used to the animals that will come like inside, like the frogs, um, like all kinds of insects. Even like cats will show up in the morning, begging for food. They will get to underneath that door. So yeah, because like the living condition was really bad, my brother and I got sick a lot, and so um, when I was like I think three years old, I got sick a lot, and then after that, like I lost a lot of weight, so I became skinny after that. um, so I had like a severe case of asthma, like since I was like 6 years old. So if I play a lot, if I get tired, I would like be out of breath, and if I eat something that's not healthy, like a food, like a snack that has really bad like oil in it, like at night when I go to bed, I want to be able to sleep because I'm like gasping for air. Like each breath you take, you get like so little. And there were so many moments in my life when I was that young. I thought I would die because I wasn't able to breathe, and so my mom was sleepless a lot of nights and took me and my uncle like give us a ride to the clinic to get a shot so that I could recover. But due to all this conditions and bad economy, my dad fled to Malaysia illegally to seek for work. And so the first time he did that when I was 1 year old, and then he came back when I was 3 years old for a little bit, and then he went back, and I never saw him again and until my family moved here to the States. And so once a month, he would call us and you know talk to us through the phone, and yeah. So living in America, my my mom was a Buddhist before she married my dad, but she converted when she married my dad. So she 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 raised all of my siblings to the faith while my dad was away. She took us to mass every Sunday. Took us to catechism classes every morning before school, and because we were so close to the church and to the school, they were like next to each other. We would walk there every morning. So I have a lot of good memories. I really enjoy like just going to catechism classes and just being active at my parish. And as like when my mom took me to mass, I think like seeing the priest up on the altar was the first sign because like of my vocation, because I really like I saw the priest and I really wanted to be like him. And so that was like the first sign of my vocation. And so I really appreciate even to this day to my mom for raising me to the faith and making sure that you know I am a practicing Catholic. So yeah, when I was 9 years old, that was when my dad moved to the United States as a refugee. So the U.S. government gave him the refugee status to come here. And so when my family heard that, like um, we were like there was some kind of indication that the rest of my family will be able to come here, but like at that time it seemed impossible, and I would have never thought that I would be here, just because like I've never heard of anyone in our city, like among my friends or relatives that have went like moved to a foreign country, like particularly the United States. Like I've never heard of anyone like ending up to this country. Like so at that time, I wasn't really like hoping, to come here. But then my dad would keep calling us and like would tell us that like to prepare to come. And so we're beginning to be certain that we're coming here. So I start to feel excited, because like when I like in Burma, when I hear about America, I think it's a really cool place, because like everything I hear and see about America is through the movies, like the action movies, how they portray the, the cities, the actors, like all the technology, that we have here. It's so cool. So I was like really excited. Um, and then we were starting about coming here. So we moved to over to the capital city, um, to get like documentations, get vaccinations, and get passports, and like prepare everything. So that's why we needed to move to the capital city. Um, yeah, like I remember the last day before moving to the capital city. Um, I was just beginning my fifth grade, second week of my fifth grade year, and my mom was taking me to. She went to the office and took me there, and then we stopped by the school to say goodbye to my friends. But I told her that I would stay at the front gate of the school, and so she went by herself to my classroom to tell all my classmates that I was leaving. And I think like going back, I think the reason why I didn't went with my mom was because I didn't want to say goodbye to my friends, and I was a little shy too. I didn't really want to. I didn't really like getting attention from like everyone. So that's why I stay outside. But my last moment of my hometown was that morning when we left on the bus. My friends, my mom's best friend's family was there, and so I remember seeing through the window the whole family like waving us, and I thought it was a really profound moment. Just seeing, just um, getting farther and farther away from them, and just really sad. Like I was really nervous and but like also excited, and I was sad that I was leaving my family and friends. Um, so we stayed in the capital city for about 7 months, and the whole time there was unpredictable. Um, I couldn't go to school. My mom couldn't get a job because uh, the government office could call us anytime. The embassy, um, they would call us anytime throughout the day, during the week, and tell us to go this place, go to this office tomorrow or this day. And so we were basically waiting. It was like a waiting period. That's 7 months. And my cousin's mother-in-law uh, was living in the capital city, so she let us stay there the whole time. And yeah, like moving to a much bigger city from my hometown, it was totally different. I had to get used to going to like going to church. We had to take like 3, 4 different buses, and like it was so dangerous too because it was like it would be crowded, and like the road conditions were bad, and so obviously if you walk, like the cars are coming, so you gotta be really careful. So yeah, it was really um, interesting time that I spent there. But a few of my cousins were living there too, so I was able to see them. Um, and so yeah, this is a picture of my dad. I think when I was 1 year old, he came back and got a family picture in front of the grotto. Um, so my aunt, she passed away when I was like 6, but she was my favorite aunt. She took care of our family a lot, like especially me and my siblings, and they're all my cousins. And I think this is my grandma. So my dad's mom. Oh, this is my dad, my mom. So this is a picture of me receiving first communion. I don't remember that. I think it was a cardinal. I remember his name. So yeah, saying goodbye. Sorry, I forgot to move the slides. But I basically cover like the first three. Um, so yeah, uh, we were originally um, uh, supposed to come um, through Japan and to the States, but then in 2011 the tsunamis hit Japan, and so the flight was delayed a couple of weeks, and so but we had a new route, and we went from the capital city of Burma to Bangkok in Thailand, and then from Bangkok to Dubai, and from Dubai to Los Angeles, from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, and to Indiana. So yeah, it's a crazy time in the flight. I was like sick, but the flight from Thailand to Dubai was really nice. They have like really nice food, and I didn't get sick. And so yeah, when I moved here, we stayed in Indianapolis, and we lived in an apartment complex until 2014. And so I resumed my fifth grade, and it was the last 3 months of the school year. So yeah, I didn't even have a complete fifth grade, but I still graduated, and it was in at a public school. And after that, my parents sent me to a Catholic school, St. Mark's, along with my sister. My brother was in high school. He attended Roncalli. Um, and so yeah, it was difficult at first, especially at the school, because I wanted to catch up, but I couldn't understand English, and so I learned most of my English I learned from my classmates, and just like doing homework, reading, and watching TV, a little bit of that. Um, I remember my math teacher doing the quizzes, crossing out the terms questions. You know how like in the quizzes there would be like math terms with like definitions, and you have to match them. I couldn't understand the sentences, so so my teacher was like, you don't have to answer them, just try to do the problems, the number problems. So I did that, and also my social studies teacher, she gave me a notebook, basically like we were writing letters back and forth each day, and so she will ask me questions about my life in Burma, what I did, my favorite food, my favorite movie, and so I learned English through the diary too. And so yeah, all my teachers were really caring, attentive, and the first group, we were the first Burmese students to begin at St. Mark's. There were like 6 of us, I think, including my sister and I. And now there's over 50% of the student population are Burmese at the school, and so the principal has worked really hard, like over at the school, and he's done really great job um, with that. and I really appreciate him and all the teachers that have helped me when I first got here. And my sister, she when she graduated eighth grade, that was the first year she entered in this country. Well, she graduated with the highest GPA in the class. I don't know how she did that, but that was really impressive. She's super smart, but but yeah. And so high school, I went to Roncalli, and at that point, I was already fluent in English, so I was able to catch up with all the school works and stuff. Yeah, and and yeah, so like I didn't really have much difficulty in high school, and after high school, I decided to join a seminary right away. My brother, after he graduated, he went to the United States Marine Corps, and he served for 4 years. And and yeah, my sister went to Marion, graduated with a biology degree, and now going to med school. Um, so right after we got here, we had so much help from the community. My dad was taking piano lessons from this lady who was also a parishioner at St. Mark's. And one day, her husband was walking around the house and saw us, and just asked my family if we needed with anything. And we told him that we needed a few clothing and furnitures. And so the next week, he showed up in front of our apartment complex with a trailer loaded with all those like clothing and furnitures. And so we were the first family to get help from him. And so since that day, he will come every week, bringing with his trailer, bringing all kinds of stuff. And so every time he comes, there will be a huge crowd around the trailer because there were many other Burmese families living in the same apartment complex. And and so um, my sister, she was a she she spoke English the best out of us, so she was like the interpreter for my family and for the other Burmese families. And then his name is we call him Mr. Mike. He and then he asked us if we wanted to go to the food pantry, St. Vincent de Paul, and we said yes. So I think it was my mom, my sister, and I. He picked us up this Saturday morning. He drove us there, and we helped for like 3 hours around the building. And then after we finished, he said, "Just look around here, and if you want anything, just grab them." So we we grabbed whatever we wanted, and then took them home. And so ever since that day, we started going to food pantry with him. He would pick us up every week, and yeah, and in during my time in high school and my seventh and eighth grade, I was also the interpreter for like the Burmese community, and so we would do like family visits to like the new families that have recently arrived to the States. And so he would pick me up and take me to their house. I would translate for them and schedule the time with them to go to the distribution center and to the food pantry. And so he will pick me up and then pick up the family and then go to St. Vincent de Paul, and they will pick out the stuff that they would need, load them up to the trailer, and then go to the house, deliver them. And so I did that a lot. Um, yeah, like that was Mr. Mike. He's awesome. I would There's no words I can describe how much I'm grateful to him. He's still like walking at food pantry to this day. And another person that really helped us was Mrs. Ginny. That's what we call her. She's also from the parish. Um, when we were staying back in the apartment complex, every weekend she came to like the front lawn of the apartment, and she would like teach our families English, and basically like a picnic. She would bring like food and snack and put mat over the grass, and we would have like 20 people just spending time with her, and she would teach us English. And then when I was a senior in high school, my parents were trying to get citizenship, and but they needed to take a test. So my dad he already knew English, so he didn't need to study a lot. But my mom, she was still learning English, so she needed to she needed someone to help her. So Mrs. Jenny would come to our house every Tuesday, I think, and we also had a few other ladies that were trying to get citizenship, and she taught them like the questions and answers to pass the citizenship test. And so she did that for like three months, and so my mom was able to pass the test. And and my first year at the seminary, I also became a citizen. At that point, I was already 18, so I had to do it myself. But it was a long process, even for me. Just waiting time just made me really nervous because like I felt really uncertain, that I was able to like finish this process. Um, Another person that helped us was Miss Rosemary, um, and she also works at the food pantry, and so she also did almost the same as Mr. Mike, bringing us like clothing and yeah, stuff. Um, so yeah, so this I think it was when I was in sixth grade. Uh, his family took uh, us to this arcade place, and we had a fun time. So I got a shot of us together. So yeah, high school and present day. He's a remake of family, our siblings. This was my first year at the seminary. So culture shocks, fun. Um, the first one was braces. I'm wearing braces now, but that's like when I first got here. The first time I saw like braces was like in sixth grade. One of my classmates was wearing braces, and I didn't ask him what was it, but I just thought that it was really interesting that he had a metal in his mouth, and I didn't know what it was for. It kind of looked like robotic, and I also saw like two rubber bands connected to the top and bottom on both sides, and yeah, it really made me like curious. Um, Second one is like I was surprised by how informal the people here are, like between adults and the children. Like between the teachers and the students, it's like some students would call their teachers by first name. They weren't even addressed like Mr. or Mrs. And be like between the elderly and the young people, like I wouldn't say not polite, but they really seem comfortable. Like they just talk to the young people, would talk to the elderly like just like their friends. And I thought it was really interesting how informal, like how comfortable the you know people are between, even though there's so much different in ages. And third one is, uh, yeah, I discover how Americans value being on time. Like mass, 9:30. You start right at 9:30. In Burma, if we have a gathering, um, like let's say just like a house family gathering, if we say 7:30, it'll be 8:30. Even like when we got here, we had rosary every weekend, and it would like each time it would be at different family houses, and so like Yeah, we say like it's like a saying in Burmese, like Nyamasano Jane, which means like the time according to the Burmese time. So if we say we're having rosary at 7, basically the Burmese time will be 8. So like even the Burmese masses, we will start a few minutes late. Next one is the Americans like privacy. Like here, it's rude to ask someone what their salary is and how old they are. Um, but like Burmese people, they don't care at all. Like they just ask you like anything that they want. Like my like I would tell my friends when I get a job, so I'll make this much an hour. Like even my parents, the first thing that whenever my parents friends will come over and say that, oh, where are you working? I'm working at this place. How much do you make? They're like straightforward. We just ask questions straight away instead of just like, you know, gossiping in their back, behind their back. And we don't really consider like those questions rude either. Just like, cultural thing, I guess. The next one is uh, there's food everywhere, especially grocery stores. Like if you go one aisle, if you have chicken or chicken the whole aisle, like there's canned food like in the whole aisle too. It's like there's so much food here. Uh, like in Burma, if we wanted to get food, we would have to wake up early, go to the market, get fresh food, and yeah, that's how we cook and eat. We don't have like stores like Kroger here. Um, we don't have processed foods. Um, like milk and meat are really rare. Like I would be lucky if I get to drink one glass of milk once a week. Uh, yeah, and here like just seeing this aisle, full of milk jugs, each one is like $3. Crazy. um, Next one is cheese. Um, Here, like we put cheese in every single food, and I, I, I didn't like cheese. I still don't really like it. I mean, I would eat sometimes when I'm eating burger, but just yeah, I think I feel a little annoyed like when people put cheese in everything. It's like give me a break. um, yeah, just dairy products are like really abundant here. So pizza too. I do eat pizza, yeah, but I wouldn't say I enjoy pizza a lot. Um, yeah, but I mean, I think pizza is good. Um, but like compared to the Burmese food, nothing can compare to it. um, yeah, I'm glad that I spent like 11 years in Burma. I was able to uh, know the customs there and get used to the food. Uh, Next one is the Second Amendment. Here, like a lot of people really, how would you say, really mm, value the Second Amendment. And I thought it was really interesting how we have the freedom to own guns to protect ourselves. Um, like especially if you feel threatened by the government, like you're free to carry it. And like in Burma, it's totally total opposite. Like if it's illegal to own weapons, to own guns, and so you can protect yourself from the government. That's why when the coup happened, the people couldn't fight back, so they had to now like the people fighting back, joining like the resistant forces, and so I mean they may have weapons from like smugglers and from like stealing from the military, but like other than that, they don't have much supply. So yeah, like I thought it's a neat thing to that we have the Second Amendment here, um, that we're able to protect ourselves. Um, the next one is that some Americans have like little attention about other countries, about the news that's happening. outside of America. Just something that I observed during my time here, because in Burma we hear news about like other countries all the time. If there's like there was a tsunami in 2011 before I came here, we knew it straight away through the TV, through the newspapers. We were keeping up with the wars in the Middle East. Not really accurate. Not it was biased because the TV, they were against the the U.S. government, so they were siding with the Middle East countries. So yeah, like yeah, just back in Burma, we heard like anything that was happening in other countries, and right here, like if you ask someone about like what's happening in Australia, like we had they had a huge fire 2 years ago, and they probably want to know. It's just something that I observed. And then the last one is the troops and veterans. Um, just like what I said with the Second Amendment, uh, we see our troops and veterans as heroes, and we can say the same thing for Burma. Like they're instead of protecting us, they're killing our own people. So it's something for us to be really grateful here that we have troops from our own families who are willing to give 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 their own lives to protect us. And I and my brother he joined because of that. I think he wanted to give back to the country for letting us come here and live here and have a better life. Yeah. Um, so the preconceived ideas that my friends and family have in Burma is that because we're in America, we have a lot of money and things, so that they expect us to send them money. But it's it's the opposite. We're working. My parents are working every day, um, just like sometimes 12 hours a day. My dad is now working 6 days a week, um, and they work at a warehouse, so carrying big boxes. It's not like office area. Like they're working really difficult jobs. Like my mom worked at a bakery a few years ago, and she would be like touching cold food or like um, ice. That's what she worked with. So like she would get really sore in her hands, and because she was touching like ice cold food, she would like be really tired at the end of the day when she comes home. Um, and yeah, like I mean, it's because of my parents that like I'm here now. They have worked every day of their lives. They've never had a vacation like to a different state. They've never done that. Like most of their monies that they work went into our education, because they sent all of us to Catholic school right after we got here, and so we had little money left for anything else. So we only used those money for whatever was necessary, and so we like were spare on everything. But not there yet. Um, yeah. So talking about the seminary, um, I would say that my life experience in Burma and in here uh, has really impacted my decision to enter the seminary. And I'm going to read uh, the vocation discernment part that I wrote for my junior year evaluation every day. So this is very recent. I said, at this point, I strongly believe that God is calling me to the priesthood. I understand priesthood as a ministry that first and foremost centers on serving Christ and His church by offering the sacraments. Since I started my seminary formation, I have discovered through many ways that support my belief that the priesthood is the most suitable vocation for me. To me, priesthood means offering the holy sacrifice of the Mass for the glorification of God and for the salvation of the world. It is only through a priest we are able to receive the sacraments. Since it is Jesus Christ who is the eternal high priest, I see priesthood as a model that reflects the life of Christ and in participation of the priesthood of Jesus Christ. A priest is called to live his whole life being united with Christ. In reflecting on the model of Christ, the priest is called to be a shepherd of all the souls that have been entrusted to him and has the responsibility to be always available for his flock, to be an example of holiness, and to be able to do all things with charity and humility. Um, yeah, like I said, I wanted to be a priest ever since I was a little child. Now that I'm old, I understand the priesthood as in a more mature way, and I strongly discern that in high school, right, particularly my senior year. Um, and like through the priesthood, given by God, I'm able to be a spiritual father to the people, and so I think there's nothing greater for me to do in my life than to become a priest, if that is God willing for me. So yeah, like if I had to describe my whole life, it would be in one word. It would be gratitude, because I'm so grateful. First and foremost to God, but also to like the community, to my parents, um, for helping me and getting me where I am right now. And if we look at the priesthood in Hebrews 5, it says, every high priest is selected from among the people and is appointed to represent the people in matters related to God, to offer gifts and sacrifices for sins. He is able to deal gently with those who are ignorant and are going astray, since he himself is subject to weakness. This is why he has to offer sacrifices for his own sins, as well as for the sins of the people. And no one takes this honor for himself, but who receives it when called by God, just as Aaron was. In the same way, Christ did not take on himself the glory of becoming a high priest, but God said to him, "You are my son, today I have become your father." So we see that this is really humbling, because it is God who chooses uh, his priests. And we can see through the example of Father Clem and Father Chris how every single day they are available to the people. They're offering sacrifices in the mass, and like not just mass, but like they're sacrificing their time, um, and that's not a burden, for the priest, because that's what he's called to do, and the priest do it with joy, um, and they all do that with love and humility. So um, yeah, like that's what uh, that's what my life is as a refugee, and yeah, thank you for listening to me, and yeah. I will take questions if anyone has.
Question. Have you ever had occasion to meet over here someone else from your village?
Yeah.
Anyone from
Yes.
there?
Hmm.
Come over.
Yeah. So a couple of years uh, after we arrived, there was a gentleman from same village who ended up, on the south side in the same apartment complex, and so he would visit us every weekend, and my dad would talk to him a lot, because they had a lot of things in common. We weren't related, but we knew a lot of people. Like they knew a lot of people. Um, yeah. And now he just married a lady from the same city, um, and now she's here too. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
He arranged for her.
Yes. He married her back in Burma,
Oh,
and then yeah, I also have few cousins living on the north side of Indianapolis, and some in Chicago and Georgia.
There, I believe that watching from here, informality is the question. Burma, how do you speak to elders who don't know you, familiar?
Yes, that's something I forgot to mention. Oh yes. Uh, what's your name? Donna. Donna just asked how we show formality to the elders back in Burma. Uh, we we don't really talk to the elderly unless they talk to us first. Like when we're at school, when the two teachers are talking in the hallway, and they're like, one is up against this wall, the other one is up against another wall. In trying to cross to them, you can just walk like just like this. You have to bow your head a little bit, and then um, walk between them, and you fold your hands during class to show that you're being respectful. If you're not being polite, the teacher will tell you that you're not polite, and you will be seen as a back kid. um, but yeah, to the elderly, we really respect them. Just like you can see in the nursing homes, we volunteer a lot there. We donate a lot of money, a lot of charity to the elderly.
You go by Kai.
Yes, I go by Kai. So
How is it that such a large community remains settled outside Indianapolis?
I think it's the government that decided that they will send most of us to Indiana. I don't know the specific reason, but I think they just chose Indiana, as particularly Indianapolis, for us to live. Um, yeah, but I don't really know the reason. Well, that was Catholic Charities and Exodus refugees, and they are in Indianapolis. So that might have been the reason. Yeah.
Christine, who paid for your apartment? Who sponsored it? Where did you find it? So your parents had
So far, yeah. Chris said who sponsored our family when we first got here, who paid for the rent and the housing. Um, for the flight, my dad loaned the money, so we had to pay all the flight costs. And my dad was already working, so he used that money to pay some of the rents. But I think we had got some Medicare, so when we went to groceries, we got a little discount off of the groceries, but it was only like a few months. So my mom started working like after 3 months she got here, so we didn't receive Medicare after that because if you're working, you're not going to get free stuff. So um, that one as much as money that we got from the government, and most of them we had to pay back for them. So yeah, I've heard from a lot of people back in the city that like we're coming here getting free stuff, and now we have like cars and buying our own house, but like I mean we work hard. If you don't work, you don't get money. So I mean, yeah.
another. What percentage? What percentage of people in Christian?
So yeah, over 90%, I would say 92 are Buddhist. The rest is Christians, Protestants, Catholics, and Muslims. Catholics, we have here Catholics and Protestants, but the city that I'm from has one of the largest Catholic populations. So um, a lot of the people in my neighborhood were Catholics, that particular neighborhood. Um, and I have half of my friends and my family, my relatives are Buddhists. So it's a cultural thing, Buddhism. So we would go to pagodas to to visit and do like a lot of stuff related to Buddhism.
Is it fair to say that the Buddhists, those who are Buddhists, would be in the upper class or making more money than
Not really,
others?
not really. I don't think so. We don't have caste system, just like in India. Um, and we all live peacefully. There's no like discrimination or like no.
Catholic charities or similar charities or programs knew of your coming, or did you have to speak?
I think when my dad came here as a refugee, I think it was to the Catholic charity. So they were already in. Oh, sorry. The question was like, did I have to seek out Catholic charities when I came here? And so yeah, my dad was already in contact with them, and I think they were the ones who brought him here. And so, I mean, since he's here as a refugee now, settling here, he's not going back. So you know, he started on to plan to bring the rest of us here. And so I think it was also through the Catholic charities that we came to. Yeah.
Do you have an idea of what happened to find the scene before somebody could find it on the other side? Or is it mentioned?
The question was, do I get to see the behind the scenes of the process
You have an
of,
understanding?
of coming here? Um, well, I mean, from my experience, they didn't tell us about the process. We were just told to do whatever they tell us to do, and so there was a lot of uncertainty. Um, and yeah, like there was no like a instruction for us to follow. They would just call us to do this and that. We would show up to the embassy, to the offices, and do whatever they tell us to do. Yeah, I remember going to I think the visa office. Um, we were we went there to get fingerprints and photo IDs, and it was so crowded, and it was like near the middle of the city, so we had to like push through the crowd to get there, and there were so many people, just really intimidating. Um, I have not returned to Burma. I really wanted to. My sister was able to go back 2 years ago, um, kind of like um, a student, like shadowing, because she's trying to go to medical school. So as a part of her experience, she was able to go back to Burma and to shadow a doctor, and it was through my aunt because she was also a nurse. She's now retired, so she was able to connect them together. And so when she got back, our cousins took care of her and took her all the places to visit. And so I wish I could have gone, but I think it was before my freshman year, and I needed to walk, so I couldn't go.
Where is it you go to?
What's that? Okay, you go ahead.
Where is it you go to?
I go to Bishop Summer Brute. It's a college seminary. It's in Indianapolis. It's right down the street from Marian University. So that's where I take classes. I live at the seminary. Like we do mass and prayer there, but for classes we will drive up to Marian University for classes. So we are like affiliated with the university. Um, so yeah.
So we understand that all the money you have was paid back as loans.
Yeah. Most of the cost that was spent on us to come here, and then we're like got to pay them back. It was basically loans. You could like if you're a parent and you just give birth, you could apply for some like assistance from the government, and so you will get free groceries um, for the kids. So
To make a point of clarification, a couple of years ago, we had a speaker here from the resettlement immigration from Indianapolis, and he spoke to us and told us that Indianapolis is one of the few resettlement cities in the United States. So there's only like half a dozen there's resettlement places, and I suspect that's why you ended up.
yeah,
Just for certain nationalities, or no, I don't. I think St. Mark's had a lot to do with all of the Burmese issues. I think St. Mark's was a big sponsor. Like,
maybe a few years after we came here because um, in 2011 when we arrived, there weren't that many Burmese families, and I don't think they were really sponsoring. Like, I mean, they may have written letters of recommendation for some families. My pastor would write, like because we were looking for Burmese priests to come to our parish, he would write a letter to the Burmese government telling them, the need for Burmese priests. But I think it's the Catholic charities that have the most impact on the families, like making sure that they get here. Yeah, there are also other big communities in Fort Wayne, in Dallas, Texas, in Michigan, and Rockport, Illinois. So there's a lot of refugee populations up on the north side of India. They are particularly from the border of Thailand and Burma, and so the groups that fled from the military, and so they established camps there, and then they were able to come here as refugees through agencies like Catholic Charities, and so a lot of them ended up on the north side of India, some on the Rockford, Illinois.
So they would be speaking different language.
Different. Yeah, yes, different ethnic. Some of them, like most of them, only speak their own ethnic language, not Burmese. Because a lot of them were born in a camp. My sister-in-law was born at one of the camps, so she's like an actual refugee. who lived at the camp and came straight to here from the camp. Thank you.
So they can see one. I want to say this. I was able to go to Simon Brute last week for a junior high day, like a junior high event where junior high kids stay for the day, and the seminarians teach them, they catechize them, and they play with them. Well, they play games with them. They don't play with them. But anyways, Kai, I was so impressed because his group like walked around him, behind him, would imitate him. Like they adored Kai. And they even had a chant, and I was able to videotape the chant. And there were competitions that day, and you guys came from the back, like you're underdogs.
They came
And
on
won it?
Thursday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Who are already getting points like for 2 days, but they caught up.
Yeah, you had a good group together because I got to vote on the church they made, and I didn't know it, but they gave us a good story. He said it was kind of a mess, but it was done appropriately well because they described it as the church before St. Francis was able to fix it. So it could have been anything. So I'm like, and so they won. They got our vote for that. That was awesome. So thank you, Kai. This stirs up a lot of emotion and thought, and I'm happy to know you. And I feel like with this, will inspire we're all here because we want to do the same thing and to be those people that we can give and help other people to live quality lives and to value the lives of everyone on the earth. So hopefully through C.A.R.E we can do that. Right now we're like waiting for some activity, but we do have I have made prayer novenas for all of us. We can at this time pray as we wait for we're not really waiting, but I mean for our next opportunity to serve. We are going to start doing more like 4 times a year. Have a fun day with the unaccompanied minors, and you'll see in the back we have donated items. And those are the kind of items that I've listed out from C.A.R.E Menifee Senior Project that we would accept. And we would also, if you don't want to go out and buy stuff, we will accept your money and buy it for you. And so it'd be from you. But our idea is to fill backpacks because these kids, they come with like absolutely nothing. And so if we give them stuff, they won't be able to hold it. So we want them to have backpacks and water bottles. Spanish books are the main thing, Spanish Bibles. But you can take a look back there and see what you think. Yes. Well, we do have one lined up for the end of this week. It's private in the sense that like they're going to see. I don't know if they're not going to see how we're going to do, but it's not going to be publicized or anything. But those objects back there will go for them. Yeah, to protect the kids. And then we'll work more closely with them and get it going so we can have more volunteers and have the opportunity to be with the kids. So yes, thank you. And yeah. Okay. Okay, I excuse you, Father.
He's not in my office. He's not in my office.
Oh, the climate guy. Okay. I don't know. He's yeah. So yeah. So on that table over there are the prayer novenas, and then the email I sent out, I printed it out so you could have a copy of all the items we need. Oh, we are gonna the 3rd week of August. You can bring the items, and we'll be out. Carly and I will be out after every mass to pick them up, or you can bring them to me, and we'll store them here somewhere. So any questions, or is there anything I'm forgetting? Or first, I'll take a question. Oh, it was
Double line here.
but St. Bartholomew, like you write a check. Oh, thank you. I forgot. What was who does the money go to? How do you make donations? You would write a check to St. Bartholomew, and you would bring the donations to the parish office or the collection basket, because we would get it. And the memo, please put C.A.R.E. You guys are good. Anything else? Oh gosh, good question. I don't know.
Probably backpack.
Yeah.
Trying to gather enough
Oh. Highest priority are backpacks. So I'm like, so yeah, that's right. I didn't mean to. Yeah, we want backpacks for the unaccompanied minors. As of now, we have 8. Yeah, and we got great donations from Ruth from Bible school. 6 to 16, and they're all girls this time. Yeah. Yeah. They take 0 to 17 is what Bethany will accept, and up to 30, I think, now. Mhm.
There's anyone online. Go ahead and use the process to take the time.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
We want ready to have it.
Yes.
Certified. I think it's like
Yeah. Yeah, through Bethany. Actually, okay, I'm so glad you brought that up. So you said for us to be with the unaccompanied children, we have to be certified through Bethany. And I will be sending a link through Flocknote's email. I know you probably all got that. The easiest way to do is just click the link and it'll bring up the papers and you'll print them out and sign them and just whatever, they'll guide you through it. But yeah, it's a lot like safe and sacred. Yeah, for your own protection. They really won't accept anyone unless you've done that and been approved. So that's something to do. I'll send that out probably tonight or tomorrow, and we'll get started on it. And we can all help in that way. Yes, yes, that would be the easiest for you to bring the money. Correct. Yeah, good point. Oh my God. Oh, it'd be important for you to give us the money. Sorry, that sounds bad. Donate money, and then we will buy the objects for the kids in need. Sorry, I gotta look from It's just, I'm like, I don't think we're looking at me, but I'm like, it's weird to talk to a box. If you need a receipt, yes, you can have a receipt, Deacon. Where are you from? No, we're here to give, but no, that's another issue. Anything else? That was really good. Thank you, because I forgot to say that. Oh, come again next month because we have a wonderful guest speaker lined up. Gonna be great. Who will be speaking next month? August something? Oh, am I notes in front of me? August 8th? 10th. August 10th. August 10th, 6:30, same time, same place. We'll have a little bit of food. We'll have a great talk, and we'll keep you updated on other items. And then any questions you have about the stuff that we email you, please email me back or call me or talk to me. Mm-hmm. For Bethany? Oh, to go through the certification of Bethany is to give you permission to help them with the unaccompanied children. I think that would, just like with, oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, if you end up hosting them, because there is a situation, since we live in Columbus and not in Indianapolis, we can volunteer our time to give the foster family a day off where you take care of the kids, but that would all be connected through Bethany. But that would be an idea. The fun day that we want to have here at St. B's for several times a year, and okay, so the certification is for any volunteer work, driving kids to doctor's appointments. Sorry guys, this is awkward. But teaching them just any one-on-one, anything you can do with Bethany. So you can contact Bethany and help them at their area of. I did. Yes. Oh, yes. I would love for everyone to get on Flock Notes in case you have not gotten all my emails. And then that way we would be connected. I could say my email, clampton@stbparish.net. Yeah, email me. There's a link on the website as well. I thought the in-person was weird. This is. Oh, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming. Are we done? I thought that was like, get off. You're done. Well, wait, I do have a prayer. Please do my. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Okay, name Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Sorry. Merciful God, we pray for families and individuals who have left or fled their homes, seeking safer and better lives. We lift up to you their hopes, fears, and needs, that they may be protected on their journeys. Their dignity and rights may be honored and upheld, and they may be welcomed with open arms into generous and compassionate communities. Amen. Thank you for being here.